far beneath the shimmering surface of the ocean, where sunlight dances in golden streams and fish weave through gardens of coral, there stood a magnificent underwater kingdom. This was the realm of the Sea King, vast, beautiful, and alive with color and song. In the grandest palace of all, made of coral walls and seashell floors that gleamed like pearls, lived 6 young mermaid princesses. Each one was lovely, but the youngest was the most curious of all. She had eyes as blue as the deepest ocean, and her voice, oh, her voice, was said to be the sweetest in the sea. But more than anything, this little mermaid had a heart full of dreams. While her sisters loved to play among the whales and dolphins, the youngest princess would sit in her quiet garden at the edge of the kingdom, looking upward, toward the surface, where the light shimmered and rippled. She had never seen the world above, but she longed for it more than anything. Every time an old ship's shadow drifted by, or a piece of treasure sank from the human world, she would race to collect it. Forks, bottles, mirrors, tiny statues. She kept them all in a secret grotto, a place filled with wonders from above. One evening, as the sea glowed softly under the moonlight, the little mermaid swam to her grandmother, a wise old mermaid who had seen many tides come and go. "Grandmother," she asked, "what lies above the waves? What are the humans like?" Her grandmother smiled gently. "Ah, child, the world above is beautiful," she said. "The skies are wide and full of stars, and the humans walk upon the land with legs instead of tails. They build ships and castles and light fires that glow brighter than the stars themselves." The little mermaid's eyes widened with wonder. "Do they live forever, grandmother?" she asked softly. Her grandmother shook her head. "No, my dear. Humans do not live as long as we do. But they have something far more precious, a soul that lives on forever, even when their bodies return to the earth." A silence filled the water. The little mermaid's heart fluttered. A soul that never dies. Could she ever have one? From that night on, her heart burned with longing. Not only did she wish to see the human world, she wished to be part of it, to walk upon the land, to breathe the air, to gaze at the sky, not through waves, but with her own eyes. She spent hours in her grotto, polishing her treasures and whispering dreams to herself. Sometimes, she would sing songs of the world she'd never seen, songs that echoed through the deep and made even the jellyfish pause to listen. Years passed, and one by one, her sisters were allowed to rise to the surface on their 15th birthdays, to look upon the world above. When each returned, they spoke of marvelous things: the glittering stars, the green forests, the graceful humans walking upon the shore. The little mermaid listened eagerly to every word. Her turn would come soon. Her 15th birthday was only a few days away. She could hardly wait. Finally, the day arrived. As the sun dipped low, the sea turned a rich shade of violet, and the little mermaid swam upward, her heart beating fast. Up, up she went, past schools of glowing fish and tall towers of coral, until, with a rush, she broke through the waves. Before her stretched the endless night sky, painted with silver stars. The air was cool and sweet, and for the first time, she felt the gentle touch of wind upon her face. Then she saw it, a great ship floating nearby, lanterns shining along its sides like golden fireflies. Music drifted across the waves, laughter, singing, the rhythm of drums. Curious, the little mermaid swam closer. On the deck stood humans, dancing, smiling, celebrating, and among them was one who caught her eye immediately. He was a young prince, tall and kind-faced, with dark hair that moved gently in the breeze. The mermaid's heart seemed to stop. Never had she seen someone so beautiful, so alive. She watched from the shadows as he smiled and spoke to his sailors. as fireworks lit up the sky above him, every spark of light reflected in her wide eyes. "This," she whispered to herself, "this is the world I've dreamed of." But suddenly the winds began to howl. The music stopped. Dark clouds gathered, and lightning tore across the heavens. A storm had come. Waves rose high, tossing the great ship like a toy. Thunder rolled, and the mast cracked with a deafening sound. The Little Mermaid's joy turned to terror as she saw the prince thrown into the raging sea. Without a thought, she dived into the black water, swimming faster than she ever had before. Down, down he sank. Helpless, unconscious, the Little Mermaid caught him in her arms and pulled him toward the surface with all her strength. Through the night, she carried him through the storm, singing softly to keep her courage. When morning came, the winds calmed and the sea turned gentle again. She brought the prince to the shore, a quiet beach lined with white sand and flowers. She laid him on the rocks and brushed the wet hair from his face. He was still breathing. The mermaid gazed at him tenderly, her heart aching with a strange new feeling. She wanted to stay beside him forever, but she could not. If he woke and saw her, he might be frightened. Humans were not meant to see mermaids. So she hid behind a large rock and watched as a group of maidens approached the shore. One of them found the prince, and he slowly opened his eyes. He smiled weakly at the girl who had found him, never knowing that it was the Little Mermaid who had saved his life. From the waves, the mermaid watched as they helped him away. Her heart was heavy, but her eyes were full of love. The human world had touched her soul, and she knew her life under the sea would never be the same again. And so, the Little Mermaid's true story begins. The story of a heart that dared to dream beyond the sea. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales from the deep. We'll see you in the next episode.